So we're going to need to project this data to UTM. So whenever we're doing an analysis, we need to find some tools. Oh, wait, first. Oh, look, there's a save there. Whenever the save is enabled, you want to click on save and make sure you save your edits. Okay, so we want to project analysis, go to tools, type project. Now, ArcGIS started out as a vector product, so by default things will say project. That's actually the vector one. You'll see there's a raster one. Raster ones tend to have the name raster in them. Okay, we're going to project this. Pause for effect. Don't know why it takes so long to bring up some of the tools. Your results will vary, and if it gets stuck and you think it's broken, go ahead and restart it. That will happen on a fairly regular basis. Okay, so here we want to go ahead and make sure that we're storing it to the correct folder. Whoop, wrong one. Desktop. Oh, really? Come on, 510, Lab 3, and this will go into our working folder, and I've already created a folder for UTM Zone 10 North data, and this is going to be the feature class, so this is going to be our annex data with our attributes added, and you can make the name yourself, just make sure the name is unique, and also lets you really know what's in there. Okay, for the output coordinate system, we want to go to UTM, which is projected, down to UTM, WGS 84, Northern Hemisphere, 10 North. Now, with ArcPro, we can click here and then add that to favorites. Okay, and that's very nice. I don't know why things are shining through. That's interesting. And then they'll appear up here under favorites so we can get to them more quickly in the future. Okay, so WGS 84 UTM Zone 10 North, we don't need a geographic transformation because we're not changing the datum, and we're off and running. Now I didn't label this with UTM in the name of the file, so I'm going to want to get rid of this one right away to know that this one is our one that's UTM. Then we're going to bring up the attribute table again. Now notice when we project this, well, that's really interesting. It has no attributes, and I don't know why. Okay, well, things happen. So I'm just going to go back to our original data, and I'm going to make sure that this data has an attribute table. Yes, it does, and there's our attributes. And I'm not sure what happened, so let's go ahead and do it again. We still have project up, and things do happen. So I'm just going to add an _2 on the end of this. Sometimes things happen because we have a selection, but my selections are cleared. Sometimes because edit has something left that hasn't been saved yet. But I don't see any of those problems, so I'm going to run this again and close this attribute table and open this one, and now we have attributes. So I'm not sure what happened there, but it's really good to keep an eye on ArcGIS. Sometimes you can just go through stuff really quickly and think everything's fine and then find out later not so much. Okay, so what we need is we need to get eastings and northings. Even though we projected this, the attributes are still in geographic, so they don't get updated when you project or do other transformations. So we need to go ahead and add a column for our northings, and this needs to be, come on, double click, there we go, a double, and then hit return, and it will give us a new field. We can do eastings, make that a double. Okay, and then go ahead and save that. That will apply those changes. Close the fields, and then over here on the right, we should have northings and eastings. Then it's real easy to calculate geometry and pick for the property that we want to put into our northings our y coordinate. really y-coordinate value, okay? Because traditionally north is y. And then same things for the easting. Let's go ahead and do calculate geometry, but this time we want to do the x coordinate value. Hit run. All right, and now again, good to check. Now when you try to size this, it does some interesting things. You actually make it bigger by going that way. A little strange, but it works. And now we have our eastings and northings, hopefully correctly computed. And we scroll back, and we can see we've got our comments correct so that we can find these when we move it into Excel. And that's what we're going to do now. I'm going to go ahead and go data, and instead of exporting features, this is what we do when we want a shapefile, I just want to get a tabular file I can load into Excel. I don't want to put that in the geodatabase. I do want to put it into this folder. Notice now it's switched modes. Now it's looking for an output location and a separate output name. This is again annex data with attributes. I'm going to go ahead and call it 2. And then I'm going to call it as CSV, so the file names are unique. That way I'm not overwriting other files. And sometimes I'll put them in individual folders to really be clear. Okay, so now we have that here. I'm actually going to remove that because one of the things that happens is sometimes ArcGIS and Excel do not get along with sharing files. That does not work well. So there's our CSV file. I can just double click on it. And now we have our benchmarks and our corner of the grass. And for these calculations, we don't really need these other rows. So I'm just going to delete them. And now we're ready to compute standard deviation and root mean square.